True creepy glitch in the Matrix experienced by you. Redditor 41. I have a weird one. Back in October of 2005 I met my now wife. We had first hooked up on a Saturday night at a gig in the city and we arranged to meet again the following Wednesday night for a beer or a coffee. I remember feeling like absolute crap on the Wednesday morning after being out the night before at a bar for my birthday with my buddies drinking and getting high and whatnot. I really did want to call her and see her again, but I felt so shitty that I just knew I wouldn't make a good impression. I had no energy, looked and felt like something the cat dragged in, and I just wanted to sleep. I was really dreading calling her to postpone in case she took it the wrong way and thought I was ditching her. When my cell phone rang that afternoon I answered it automatically without really registering the number, as it was on an old shitty Nokia with a green 2-inch screen. It was a girl's voice on the line asking me did I mind if she took a rain check on our date that evening. She said she was hoping we could meet up again the following weekend instead, as she was really tired from work. Totally relieved, I said no problem at all. When we met up again on the following Friday we got to talking and I confessed that I was glad she had postponed our date as I felt terrible the previous Wednesday. She replied that she hadn't called me on Wednesday afternoon and that she hadn't rain checked our initial date. She had however been expecting my call and she told me that she had just assumed I didn't call her because I was being in a shoal. She said when I actually did call her on the Thursday to arrange the date she changed her opinion and thought I was okay. My phone record showed I had accepted a call on Wednesday afternoon that lasted 3 minutes, but the number came up blocked. I guess in hindsight I could have investigated further by asking the cell phone company to obtain the details of the blocked number, but I didn't really think too much about it back at the time. As time goes by I sometimes wonder if whoever I spoke to on my cell phone on that Wednesday afternoon intervened in our lives in some way for some reason. We are married with children now, and from time to time when I contemplate the event some Marty McFly BTTF shit comes into my mind. Who the duck knows? I just know it was something odd as a cod. Redditor 42, happened to a friend, but I'm kinda part of the story as well. I started this board card game club about 1 year ago and myself and a small group have been playing Agricola board game there a lot. For some reason, I frequently hum lyrics to Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine while we play. One of the guys I play with was going to another city with some of his friends and they found a board game store where you could play some games in store. They found Agricola and started setting up a game. When they had it all set up and was ready to play, he heard someone behind him tapping his fingers against a table and singing "Now You Do What They Told You." He freaked out, turned around and expected to see me, but it was just some other random dude humming the same song. Redditor 45, my daughter and I were on the couch one day when she was younger and we heard the sound of popcorn from microwave. It wasn't a constant popping but 1 or 2 pops every 10 seconds or so, then the entire living room filled with the smell of buttered popcorn. No one was making popcorn, the microwave itself did not smell like popcorn and the smell was only in the living room. I went as far to open the heating vents to see if there was a rogue bag of popcorn in there. If it was just the smell and not the sound or vice versa I would easily explain it away, but it was still one of the strangest events. Redditor 46, I once fell asleep, wearing a pajama shirt, yes I am sure, I remember putting it on. Then I woke up in the middle of the night, freezing. Only to realize that I had no shirt on. I turned the light on and there it was, folded on top of my bed table. I still don't know what happened that night, but it has never happened again. My first thought was that someone must have undressed me. As if I would have slept very heavily or something. And it creeps me out thinking about it. Edit, after reading your answers I guess I was sleepwalking. I've never done it before or since then, but that seems like the only reasonable answer. But if that's the case, I'm damn good at folding clothes in my sleep, I should do it more often. Redditor 47, not sure if this counts. My ex would cry in her sleep from time to time. I'm a night owl, so if I was around her, I'd gently caress her head and say I'm here, everything is okay. After a while, I'd wake up 10 seconds before she'd start crying to console her. Now, if one of my 4 kids starts to cry in their sleep, I'm already awake to console them. I love it but always thought it was weird. Redditor 48, I was home alone reading a book. The sun was setting and it was becoming hard to read. Suddenly, the room got brighter. I turned around and 2 light bulbs in the chandelier that had been burned out for weeks were on. They went back out 2 hours later while I was in the other room making tea, and the filaments were broken. Redditor 49, people probably won't believe this and my girlfriend thinks I'm making it up, but whenever I look at a clock or watch during the afternoon it's 13:37. When I first noticed it 6 years ago I thought it was because I had the same routine at uni. But now I work full time and my work schedule is always varied, but the time is still 13:37. I could be eating lunch on a Monday, queuing up for a film at the cinema on a weekend or lounging on a beach on holiday and it'll be 13:37. Redditor 50, was brushing my teeth with one hand, putting the toothpaste down with my other and turning on the tap with my third hand. I only noticed it a few moments after. I couldn't piece it together, but they all happened at the same time. Redditor 51, this may not be woo-woo creepy the way most stories are, but here goes. I find that, if I stop trying to control everything and let things happen as they will, the universe will send the exact person or thing I need to me. I lost my job a few years ago and went home totally dejected. I decided to rest for that night and not stress about a job hunt until the next morning. The next morning I was awakened by a phone call from this guy who was a friend of my ex-boss, who just opened his own restaurant and wanted to know if I wanted to work there. It was like the universe had gift-wrapped me a new job and deposited it into my lap. Another time I had found a new apartment, which was only a few blocks from my old apartment. I was heading to my old place to pack my stuff, not really sure how I was going to get it all packed and moved by my lonesome, but I had that same feeling. That feeling of it will work itself out. I think my phone had gone dead, so I stopped a random guy on the street to ask what time it was. He asked me casually what I was doing, and I told him, "Oh, I'm about to pack and try to move all my things." And this rando said, "I'll help you." For some reason, I wasn't wary of him. I felt like it was meant to be. So he came with me to my old place, helped me pack, and then helped me carry my stuff to my new place. He was super nice and helpful, and it was like it was all meant to be. Like he'd been put there, right on that particular street corner at that particular moment, to fix my predicament. Redditor 52, I remember as a kid lying in bed at night waiting to sleep. I must have been 6-7 years old. My brother was in the other single bed fast asleep and a babysitter was looking after us older cousin. As I was laying there, I distinctly remember someone or something tickling my feet. I know it wasn't my brother and the bedroom door was fully locked and it never opened, if my older cousin was messing around. A decade later or so, I was talking to my mom. We were just generally chatting about weird things over the years. She mentioned that she once heard me as a 5-year-old, chatting away in my bedroom and giggling. As my brother was out with my dad, she went in to see what I was doing. She said I pointed to the chair in the corner and said talking to the old lady with the glasses. There was no one sat in the chair at all according to her. Worst thing was, she said that there was an old lady in the house that used to live there. She died in that bedroom and that was her chair left from when we recently moved in. I don't remember the chatting to the old lady, but I 100% remember the tickling of feet. The chair was in the corner of the room at the base of my bed. Part of me wants it to just be my cousin fucking around with me, but I just know he wasn't in the room. Redditor 53, I had never seen the movie Pulp Fiction until a couple of months ago. I didn't even have the slightest idea what it was about before watching it, just that I should watch it more than once to fully understand it. At times, I dream of something seemingly insignificant, and this insignificant event takes place in real life and I'm all holy duck deja vu. Well, this time, I dreamed of someone explaining to me that someone's soul was kept in a case, and the scar on the back of this person's neck was where his soul was removed. Fast forward, I'm on a date with a boy and we watch Pulp Fiction. He asks me what I thought was in this case. There's a case in the movie and it's never actually revealed what's in it. And he tells me it was this character's soul, and that's why there's a scar on the back of his neck. Exactly how I dreamed it. I was so visibly weirded out I couldn't contain my reaction. Pure coincidence is a possibility for the other times this dream deja vu happened, but I had dreamt someone telling me a major plot point ending of a movie I had never seen in my life. Redditor 54, I had a dream that Mr. Rogers died. I woke up not thinking much of it, went online like I do every morning, and found out that he had in fact died earlier that morning. Redditor 55. Back in 6th or 7th grade on the bus ride home we stopped at this kid's house to drop him off and his dog started running towards him. The dog went full speed behind a tree and a different dog came out on the other side running full speed. Every so often I'll be laying in bed about to go to sleep and I'll remember this. Still don't fully understand what happened. Redditor 56. Not creepy, but had a time when I was in middle school, where I spent a couple weeks in the summer at my dad's office. The office manager and I sat down to double check a C-unt of envelopes, and we got a different number. We both did the C-unting, carefully handling the envelopes, and were one short. We did this a few times. We tried it one more time, and got the correct number. It was very odd. Redditor 57. I used to vividly dream about things before they happened in my early 20s. For instance, I had been in a car accident and had to tie the hood down on my car with metal wiring. I dreamed that I was driving and could see the metal melting apart. This was in Oz in the summer, so not impossible, and then the hood flew up and I couldn't see in front of me. Sure enough, the next day, I'm driving and it's so hot and I start picturing in my head the metal melting and the hood coming up when it suddenly does. Completely cracked my windshield and I couldn't see anything in front of me until I could use my side and rear view mirror to pull over and pull the hood back down. Also, anytime my best friend from junior high calls me, I always dream of her the night before. She never calls unless I dream about her. This morning I had a dream that included my older brother who I don't get to talk to very often, and I woke up to a phone call from him. It terrifies me when I have vivid bad dreams because I think they are going to come true. Some have in the past. Redditor 58. A few days ago my wife and I were settling down to watch a movie in the living room. She switches off the light in the room. There is a light switch right above the sofa and we start the film. A few minutes into the film we notice the light is on. It was weird because we did notice it switch on, just kinda noticed that it was on, but we have no idea how long it was on for. We both clearly remembered that the light was switched off. It's part of our movie watching setup. We like the cinema experience. It confused the heck out of us both. Redditor 59. I remember dreaming about my dad and I. We had gotten into a car crash with an oncoming semi-truck and I woke up before we had died. It was me driving, but I was driving on the left side. I didn't think anything of it, but it was weird to me cause it felt so real. A year had passed and it's 2016 at the time. Right around Christmas, my dad was in Australia for a business trip. The day he was supposed to come back he had gotten in a car crash and had passed at the hospital. What was weird was it was the exact same truck from my dream and on the exact same street and area. I just remember the memory flooding back to me when it happened. For those of you who will wonder how I knew it was the same, is because I was shown pictures of the crash which had shown the semi and had shown the street. Redditor 60. I was sleeping at night in our bed and started to feel like a tingling all over my body, started from my head down to my feet. Then it started to feel like I had electric current running through me. I began to hear a guy and lady's voice and I finally managed to open my eyes. I then saw that I was getting tased by the lady and that the guy was walking over towards my sleeping GF to get her. I was freaking out, and next thing I know I woke up from what ended up being a dream to my girlfriend asking me if I was okay, and that she heard a noise out in our living room, so I get up and walk out to check and see that everything is cool. I walked back into the bedroom and saw the same two people standing in the room hovering over her. I woke up again after this for real this time, and my girlfriend and dog were sound asleep on the bed. I don't know what the duck happened that night. Redditor 61. I watched a hockey game one night several years ago and remember going to bed at the end of the game. The score had been 5-2. Next morning I wake up and am reading through scores. The game ended 3-2 with the opposite team winning from what I remember. I had no explanation for it and still don't. It wasn't even like I went to bed at the end of a period and the game kept going because the team I remembered having 5 only had 2. Redditor 62. I was gonna pack for a sleepover. Went into the bathroom looking for my toothbrush. Mom's and brother's toothbrushes are there but not mine. There is however a small yellow toothbrush, suitable for a child. I ask my mom if she knows where it is, which she does not, so I go back and check again. Mine is still not there. Small yellow one is still there. I give up and go pack other things, and then my mom goes into the bathroom and asks what I'm talking about. My toothbrush is there. Since I was 100% sure it was not, I rushed to the bathroom to check. My toothbrush is now there, but there's no sign of a small yellow toothbrush. Afterwards I started wondering why I didn't react to the yellow toothbrush. None of the other ones looked anything like it, and it was very out of place. It also couldn't have been my mom switching them because she wasn't in the bathroom long enough. My room was right next to it. Redditor 63, in 1984 my father went out to get smokes and was never seen again. Redditor 64, I once was woke up by a phone call from my GF at the time. She was at her friend's house, which I didn't know about until the phone call. We figured out our plans for the day, told her that I was gonna lay around for 15 minutes to wake up a bit, I'd have a shower and head over to get her. I just laid down, started to fall asleep, then the phone rang about 15 minutes after the last phone call. It was her, calling from her friend's house again. Convo was the same, word for word, so I played along. Then when it was done she was wondering why I was laughing. I told her we just had this convo 15 minutes ago. She disagreed and I figured was pulling my leg. Later that day I checked my calls, only had one from that number, and she showed me her friend's phone, same, only one call made. Redditor 65, my best friends, fiancé, and myself should be dead. It was a rainy Friday the 13th in September. We were traveling to go to a Ren fair. The mountain we were driving down is dangerous. One of us already lost a family member to this mountain. We are off the dangerous part, the roads are wet. I tell the driver to be careful. People drive too fast on this road. My eyes were fixed on a turn in the road. I couldn't hear my friends. I saw the burgundy truck come around the turn and lose control. I started screaming as I saw the part of the truck where the bed meets the cab coming right for us. We had no chance. We were heading for a T-bone collision. I closed my eyes. I felt us hit the truck, the sound of cracking metal, breaking glass. Then I felt the vehicle we were in hit the side of the mountain. I opened my eyes as the truck drove off. We pulled off the road expecting the front end to be gone. The only damage me could find was the driver's side door mirror hit the window so hard the mirror fractured and fell off. All four of us felt both impacts. We thought we were going to die. We all realize we are living on borrowed time. This is not the first time death has failed to take me or those I was with. Redditor 66, hundreds of super weird synchronicities that make me feel like I am being mocked and played with. Redditor 67, my wife and I bought new phones. They came with earbuds. This is not the weird part. I hate grocery shopping, but my wife asked me to pick up things from 2 different stores. I brought the earbuds with me so I could listen to a podcast while I was there. Time to check out, so everything went in my pocket. Fast forward 10 minutes and I'm at the next grocery store. Pull my phone and earbuds out of my pocket. Sons of bitches, the rubber piece for the left ear is gone. Search my pockets and tear the car apart. Nothing. I lost it at the first grocery store. This is also not the weird part. 2 weeks later my wife is watching videos on her phone. Her left earbud won't stay in. Well, what do you know? There are now 2 of those rubber things on her left earbud. Cool. Now I can use mine again. That was the kinda weird part. A month goes by and the left rubber thing for my earbud is gone. I blame the kids. They say they never touched it. Kids always lose everything. Then another month goes by. My wife came home from work. She took her shoes off and sat on the couch. We talked about our days and a half hour later decided to head out. She put her shoes back on. She said there was something in her shoe. It was that damn thing again. I'd love to know what the heck was going on with that. Redditor 68, my friend was around and we were playing with a Lego shark and gun. We put the gun in the shark's mouth, which clearly could not fit the gun in any way we tried, and then the gun just disappeared. We shake the shark around to see if the gun went in. Nothing. Looked around, still nothing. Still have the shark. Redditor 69, I have memories of playing with a cousin of mine when I was a toddler shortly before my uncle and aunt divorced. Aunt was a cheating loon. I recently asked my family about her and nobody remembers her. But lo and behold, I came across pictures of a little blonde girl with my aunt and uncle when I was home from school last week. Everybody I ask doesn't know who the girl is. Redditor 70, an entire house that I walked by every day disappeared. Not even dirt where it was, just nothing but grass. No debris or anything. Couldn't have misplaced it in my head because it was directly to the left of a bridge and the one on the right side across from it was still there. Waiting for the day it comes back out of nowhere too. Redditor 71, I'll hear a new song for the first time and feel like I've heard it before. I know I probably have heard it before and my brain didn't bother to remember, but still make me feel like I'm from the future. Redditor 72, one time I went out with this dude and he offered to send me home. He didn't remember where he'd parked the car, so we went to the second floor parking because he was sure it was there. We walked around in circles and kept pushing by this one unique yellow car. So to 15 minutes later when I suggested to go to the first floor parking, and what adventurous see his car. As we got closer to the car, we passed by the same unusually designed yellow car parked in the same way the first yellow car was parked. The dude pointed it out and both of us had to take a moment in the car to just contemplate what we just saw. Redditor 73, I have a good one for this and I would love to hear if anyone has any explanations. Last year on Father's Day I met my family at my parents' house and we had a barbecue in the garden. Both of the dogs were out, so we put the 2 rabbits into their pen on the grass. The pen is about 2 foot tall and 5 by 5 foot squared. After food we walked to the pub, leaving the dogs in the house and the rabbits in the pen. When we get back a couple of hours later we go back into the garden and notice that one of the rabbits is sitting on the roof of the pen. There were no patches of grass dug up, all of the panels, corners and chicken wire mesh were completely secure and the pen was too tall for rabbit to have jumped up. Also strange that only one of them escaped and chose to sit on the roof and not jump down to eat the nearby vegetables. Also, they were both white rabbits and would have been dirty if it had dug through the soil. I cannot work out how that rabbit ended up sitting on top of its hutch completely clean and with no visible signs of it escaped. I can only assume some sort of glitch caused it to spawn on top of the case rather than inside it. Redditor 74, I just had one a few weeks ago. My daughter is around the same age as my little sister, so they play together a lot. We had a snow day and my dad called me up to see if my daughter wanted to have a play date with my sister. I told him I would be there shortly. Our houses are 2 miles from each other and as I am driving to his house he passes me. I figure he misunderstood and was dropping my sister off at my house, but I am close enough to his house that I decide I will just turn around in his driveway and head back to my house to meet him. I pull into his driveway and his truck is sitting in the driveway, so I was totally freaked out. Me and my daughter swore we saw him pass us. Nothing too weird, but it definitely freaked me out a little. Redditor 75, not me but my sister. When she was around 14, she had a very weird specific dream. She woke up the next morning and I told her that our uncle had passed away. About 5-6 years later, she woke up one morning and said she had the exact same dream. Same day we hear the news of another family member passing away. Last year, about 4 years after the second dream, I called my mom to tell her about a friend's death and hear my sister screaming in the background. Apparently she had the same dream the night before and had told my mom in the morning that we'll hear the news of a family friend's death today. Redditor 76, I wish I wasn't so late, because I have a really good one for this. Back in the 7th grade, my friends and I used to hang out in my room playing Pokemon, Legos, and other things young brothers like to do. I had a friend, we'll call him Bob, that I had known for a few years who had a pretty bad tendency to lie about arbitrary things. One weekend, Bob, myself, and 2 of our other friends were sitting around doing our normal shenanigans, when all of a sudden Bob just stops playing and looks at me with a super puzzled expression and asks, "I guess the power just went out, huh?" I looked at him like, "What are you talking about?" and just took it as another one of his white lies or something. But just as I was about to go back to whatever I was doing, every light in the house shut off. No storm outside, completely unwarranted loss of power in our house, and freaking Bob saw it like 5 seconds before anyone else did. I don't hang out with Bob anymore. Redditor 77, I've posted this before, but I was in the locker room and the locker next to mine both closed with master locks open to the exact combination. I at first opened the locker that wasn't mine, and started freaking out because it was empty and I thought that everything, including my phone, wallet, and clothes, was stolen. I was about to go to the front desk when I had this sudden urge to try out my combination on the locker right next to the one I just opened, and it turned out to be mine. I closed the lock that wasn't mine and figured that if no one claimed the lock within a few weeks, I would keep it for myself, as it would be really convenient to have two locks that would open to the same combination. Well, no one moved the lock, so I claimed it. I guess the Matrix corrected the glitch because a couple of weeks later, some guy thought my locker was his, asked the front desk to clip my lock, realized that the locker wasn't his, and left a note of explanation and a $5 for a new lock, which was pretty solid. Just keep in mind that each master lock combination has a set of 3 numbers, and the lock dial has 40 numbers in total. The chances of 2 locks opening to the same combination and being side by side are astronomically small. The stamped barcodes on the locks were actually 1 digit away from one another. Redditor 78, overwhelming deja vu, and being able to predict small details within the next 30 seconds. Redditor 79, when I brought my boyfriend home for the first time, I very clearly remember going mini golfing. I can tell you what we were both wearing, what parking spot we used, the color of our balls, where I hit mine into the river, everything. Even the other families that we shared the course with. He swore we didn't go, so I asked my parents and they both agree that we never told them we were going mini golfing, and the course is a significant distance from our house, so they also couldn't think of a time that we were gone for several hours. I am the only person that remembers mini golfing, and as far as I'm concerned, it was one of the best dates my boyfriend and I went on. The only way it could be better is if I could prove it actually happened. Redditor 80, this isn't creepy, but it was surreal. I caught a bus and went downtown with every intention of staying there to work on my writing at a cafe. But somehow I got downtown having forgotten my backpack and laptop and books at home. I still spent maybe 4 hours downtown running errands before heading home, regretting not having brought my bag along. So I'm sitting on the rather long bus home, and staring at my backpack. And then I straighten up and realize it's my backpack. And inside it is my laptop and my books. And somehow it had survived on the same bus I'd taken earlier, all day. Just sitting there. I recovered all my stolen shit before ever having realized I'd lost it. Redditor 81, couple days ago my buddy starts talking about jalapenos, immediately look down at my phone and see a post on FB about jalapenos. Couple hours later same friend starts talking about Elder Scrolls Online, immediately look down at my phone to see a post about Elder Scrolls Online. Freaked me out, man. Redditor 82, is coming into boxers, drinking water and suddenly becoming naked again, normal? Redditor 83, I know deja vus are a common thing, and most people would say it's just our brains playing tricks on us. But I've had this dream where I never really found an explanation for. I saw something I had no previous knowledge of. It was a tattoo on a person, a design inked somewhere hidden she has never revealed to me before. It would be highly indecent if she did, nor has she posted or shared or showed pictures of it before. Said person and I have never talked about the tattoo before. Best part? When I had this vision of the tattoo, I haven't even knew her yet. I only verified the dream after my friendship with said person became closer, and on a fateful day, it dawned upon me that the person I saw in my vision was her. So I plucked my courage to ask her about her tattoo. Both of us were as dumbfounded when she admitted to having the tattoo. Redditor 84, as a child I was reading a book in bed and happened to check the time. It was somewhere in the ballpark of 9 p.m. I went back to reading, and at some point on the same page I distinctly remember having to go back and read the same sentence twice, because the first time I glossed over it and didn't seem to comprehend it at all. I got a weird feeling and looked back up at my clock. It was 1 in the morning. I don't consider it a real glitch in the Matrix because now I assume I just dozed off with my eyes open or something, but it definitely felt like 1 at the time. Redditor 85. When I was a kid I heard someone call out hello to me when I was walking around my opa's forest. There wasn't anybody there, and there's no reason for anyone else to be there because the forest was in the middle of nowhere. My opa who was walking with me heard it and tried to call back, but nobody responded, and there was no way. They just went into hiding because the person called out from in front of us and fairly close to us, so we would have seen it. Redditor 86, when I was young and living on an Air Force base in Montana, I had a dream my mom and I were at the grocery store and one of our neighbors approached us sans her daughter around my age. The little girl had a heart murmur, but was pretty healthy and had been doing well for years. Dream mom asked where the daughter was, and dream neighbor says she passed away last night. Something happened and her heart just gave out. I was fairly young, around 5, but I asked my mom about it the next morning and she was creeped out because I was too young to really know the girl had any health issues, but she chalked it up to just weird kid intuition. A few days later, the little girl's mom knocked on our door to tell us her daughter had indeed passed away from an unforeseen heart complication. My mom still loves to tell the story. She's strange. Redditor 87. When I was a kid I was buying a few Pokemon booster packs. Another kid walked up as I was paying, swapped one pack from my pile with one from the display, told me that it would have a Clefairy, then walked away. Sure enough, there was a holographic Clefairy. In hindsight, that kid was probably just some sort of magic little witch boy. Redditor 88. This happened around a month ago. I was visiting Boston for the weekend to check out a college and brought friends along as well. All 3 of us shared one 2-bed hotel room. The room came with a couch in which I slept on, and there was a desk across the room from where I slept. Fast forward to the second day there, I'm doing homework at around 12 at night. I'm the only one in the room as my friends went to another hotel room where there were other students from my school who also were checking out the same college. Anyways, I'm the only one there, sitting at the desk doing homework. I'm in the middle of writing a sentence and something went in my eye, so I closed my eyes to try and get it out. When I go to open my eyes again, the room is dark. I'm laying down on the couch, and one of my friends is asking me if I need a blanket. I shit you not, I have no idea how I went from doing homework on a desk to sleeping on the couch across the room. And to add to this, all my homework was done and in my book bag when I went to check it the next morning. When I got that thing stuck in my eyes, I was only just starting the homework. Redditor 89. Just this weekend. My hubby and I are out in our Jeep. We are deep in the country and way off main roads in a tiny town a couple hours away from home. Our new home that we moved into this summer. On the other side of the state. We come up over a small hill and I see this farm. And get the strongest deja vu feeling I've ever experienced. I mean, hair standing up on my arm as I look at this farm and just know what's on the side of the house that we can't yet see. A small garden and chicken coop. Just as I'm about to tell my husband what I'm feeling, he reads the sign on the gate and it's my maiden name with the word ranch behind it. Redditor 90. The only glitch I can remember. I wanted egg salad, so I went out to the chicken coop and collected 9 eggs. I washed them and put them in a pot to boil and left with my dad to pick up my brother, leaving my mom to finish them. When I got back, there was 10 eggs in the bowl. Of course, I just assumed my mom added another egg. Nope. She was just as surprised as I was to see 10 eggs. There was only 9 when she took them out of the pot. My mom is not the type of person to play jokes or lie. I am a little OCD and see and Ted the eggs at least 3 times, collecting, washing, and putting them in the pot. We tried to bush it off and finish the egg salad. It tasted pretty good. Redditor 91. A few years ago I woke up in the middle of the night, and completely lost sleep, which never happens to me. After trying to go back to sleep for some time, I felt bored and decided to prank my little brother on his sleep. I was intending to place the iPad screen in front of him with a very scary picture of a face and then waking him up. I was in the living room browsing on the iPad and decided it would be the doll from the Saw horror movie on full screen, although I never watched it and neither my brother at that time. I chose a good picture of the doll, opened it on full screen, and all of a sudden a door opens and my brother walks out of his bedroom, rubbing his eyes as he lost his sleep as well, telling me he had a nightmare of the doll from that horror movie. As he finished saying it, I startled and speechlessly turned the iPad screen to him, watching him scream and running away fast to our parents' bedroom. I stood there astounded, with a blank gaze in my eyes, thinking about what just had happened and what the heck is wrong with me. Redditor 92. One morning on the way to school, a car crashed through someone's house with enough speed force to make it halfway to the backyard. It was straight forward into it and the house wasn't at the end of the street or cul-de-sac, just a house on the side. The most explainable theory was that the driver went out from the house across, but the driver was drunk and lived in a different neighborhood. I also doubt that he could have built up that much speed within a short distance plus hitting the curb. Redditor 93, it was only that while I was reading through the comments I remembered something that happened. There were 2 occasions. The few was a couple of years ago. I went to sleep fully clothed with a bottle of Ribena next to me. I woke up at around midnight and found my top was off and just lying at the bottom of my bed. My bottle was on the floor at the foot of my bed, well away from my bedside table. Maybe I knocked off the bottle accidentally and don't notice, but I have no idea how a long-sleeved jumper could have come off without me noticing. The other event happens a few years before that. I went to bed with a small clock next to my bed and a book on my desk. I woke up the next morning with my clock sitting on a table in another room and my book downstairs in kitchen. I asked both my parents and they both said they didn't do anything. It's not like them anyway. There is either something wrong with the matrix or I used to have a really bad case of sleepwalking. Redditor 94, multiple times I have dreamt something that happened the very next day. One time I had a dream of eating at a restaurant that I had never been to before, and this restaurant had very specific art on the tables. When I wake up, I ask about the plans for dinner and we are going to that restaurant. I had never even heard of it before. Redditor 95, not exactly creepy. I just think it's weird. I always wear the same necklace. Always. It has half a heart on it, my mum wears the other half, and I attached a ring my mum got me for my birthday 2 years ago to the necklace chain. About 3 or 4 months ago, I was sitting in bed and the necklace came undone so the heart and ring fell onto the floor. I found the heart pretty much straight away but couldn't find the ring anywhere. About 2 weeks ago, my mum hands me the ring I lost and said she found it on the floor of the kitchen downstairs. My bedroom isn't above the kitchen so I have no clue how she found it.